You know that moment when you're just sitting in your car, engine running, waiting? Maybe you're in the school pickup line or just waiting for a friend to run into a store. It seems totally harmless, right? But that one small act, when you multiply it by millions of us doing the same thing, adds up to this massive, hidden problem. From long-haul truckers to you and me, we're all part of this idling culture that's costing us way more than we realize. And oh boy, when you see the numbers, you'll get just how big this thing really is.
So just how big are we talking? Well, get this. Research estimates that right here in the US, we waste about 6 billion gallons of fuel every single year just from vehicle idling. 6 billion. That's enough fuel to fill over 90,000 swimming pools, and it's all just poof, going up in smoke. It's an absolutely staggering amount of wasted energy, money, and resources. So in this explainer, we're going to follow the trail of all that wasted fuel. We'll start right at the epicenter with what we're calling the trucker's dilemma. Then we'll check out some really smart solutions that can save a fortune. We're also going to debunk some of those common myths that keep us all idling. And then at the end, we'll talk about what you can do to help turn things around. All right, to really get a grip on this whole idling thing, we have to go where the action is, the long-haul trucking industry. This is where the practice is most concentrated and where the costs, both for the wallet and for the planet, are just off the charts. See, for a long-haul driver, their truck isn't just a truck. It's their office, it's their kitchen, it's their bedroom. Now, federal law says they have to take mandatory rest periods. And during that downtime, yeah, they often keep those big engines running. But this isn't just about wasting fuel for the fun of it. It's about basic comfort and, frankly, survival out there on the road. So, what's really going on inside that cab while the engine's humming? Well, that idling engine is basically doing triple duty. First, it's providing climate control. Heat when it's freezing, AC when it's scorching. It's also keeping the engine block itself warm to prevent problems starting up in the cold. And on top of all that, it's acting like a personal power plant, running everything from a microwave to a TV to a laptop. And that right there gets to the absolute heart of the problem. You're using a massive engine that was designed to haul 80,000 pounds down the highway just to run a little heater or charge a phone. It's unbelievably inefficient. You know, it's like trying to water a single houseplant with a fire hose. Sure, it gets the job done, but the waste is just enormous. Let's start putting some numbers to this. A typical long-haul truck idles for about 1,800 hours a year. And listen, that's just for the mandatory rest periods. That doesn't count traffic or waiting at a dock. 1,800 hours? That's the same as letting your engine run, going nowhere, for 75 straight days.
So what does 1,800 hours of idling actually burn? How about 1,400 gallons of diesel? That's per truck, per year. Now just imagine you're a fleet manager with hundreds of trucks on the road. You're suddenly looking at a truly monumental amount of waste. And of course, that wasted fuel hits the bottom line hard. At today's prices, we're talking about roughly $5,500 just burned away by one truck every year from idling. That is pure profit literally just vanishing into thin air. The cost isn't just financial either. That same truck idling for those 1,800 hours is pumping out about 14 metric tons of carbon dioxide. To put that into perspective for you, that's about the same as the yearly emissions from 3 regular passenger cars, all from one truck, going nowhere. Okay, so the problem is clear, it's costly, and it's concentrated. But here's the good news. So are the solutions. There is incredible technology out there right now that not only fixes this problem, but can actually pay for itself. The first big solution is something called an auxiliary power unit, or an APU for short. You can see one right here. It's that box mounted on the side of the truck. The easiest way to think of it is as a small, super efficient generator that's designed to do the one job the main engine is so terrible at. So how does it work? Simple. An APU is its own separate, tiny engine. When the driver needs to rest, they shut off the truck's main engine completely and just fire up the APU. It sips a tiny fraction of the fuel, but it provides all the power they need for heating, cooling, and any other electronics they have in the cab.
Another absolutely brilliant solution is to take the power source off the truck entirely. This is called electrified parking spaces, or sometimes truck stop electrification. Instead of burning any fuel at all, drivers can just plug their trucks in, kind of like an electric car. The whole concept is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. A driver pulls into a specially equipped parking spot at a truck stop, shuts the engine down completely, and connects to a power pedestal. This provides all the electricity for everything, AC, heat, appliances, with zero fuel being burned on the truck and zero emissions at the truck stop.
And this, right here, is where the business case just becomes a total no-brainer. Let's look at the options. Idling burns up to 1.5 gallons of fuel every hour. Okay, but now look at the far right column, payback. An APU is a great investment, paying for itself in under 4 years. But look at the others. An auto start-stop system or plugging into an electrified space, the payback on those is just 1 year. This stuff isn't an expense, it's an investment that starts paying you back almost right away.
Now, this problem isn't just about heavy-duty trucks. A lot of us idle our own cars because of these long-held beliefs that just aren't true anymore. So it's time to separate the facts from the fiction. Okay, here's the big one. We've all heard it, right? Don't keep turning your car off and on, you'll wear out the starter. The reality today, with modern engines, lubricants, and computer controls, that's just not an issue anymore. In fact, idling for long periods can actually do more damage to your engine components than a simple restart ever would.
All right, what about fuel? Surely it takes this huge gulp of gas to restart the engine, doesn't it? Nope. A hot engine start uses a teeny tiny amount of fuel. The break-even point is literally just a few seconds. So, if you're going to be stopped for any real amount of time, you are definitely saving fuel by turning that engine off. And here's the classic cold weather myth. You have to let your car sit and idle to warm up. For modern cars, all you really need is about 30 seconds before you can gently drive away. The engine actually warms up faster when you're driving it lightly than it does just sitting there. And trying to defrost your windshield with the engine, that's probably the most inefficient, expensive way to do it. An ice scraper is still your best friend.
So, we've looked at the problem, we've explored the solutions, and we have busted the myths. Now the big question is, what do we actually do with this information? Let's bring it all back to some practical steps we can all take.
If you're managing a fleet, the path forward is pretty clear. First, dig into your data. Look at your engine records and see exactly how much your trucks are idling. Second, based on that info, pick the right tech for your specific routes and needs. And third, start mapping out where truck stop electrification is available. It can be a total game changer.
And for the rest of us, the takeaway is even simpler. It all comes down to one easy-to-remember habit, the 30-second rule. If you think you're going to be stopped for more than 30 seconds and you're not in traffic or something, just turn it off. Waiting for a long red light? Turn it off. Picking someone up from the curb? Turn it off. It is such a small change that can make a huge difference.
And really, that brings us to the final thought. By making this one small change, by adopting these new technologies, we save fuel, we save money, and we cut down on pollution. The engine is off, the waste is stopped. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with the savings?